For an alternate sequence notation, we said that the ball is starting at 9 feet, but that's not what we're talking about. That is my u sub 0. We are actually talking about u sub 0 here. U sub 1 is after the first bounce. It bounces 6 feet. After the second bounce, what's happening every time? So not going down 2/3. It's only bouncing 2/3 of its original amount. Can't be less than 1. We're not starting it at 1 because we're talking about bounces. We're dropping it at 0. We're talking about bounces. Has it bounced at 9 feet? No, it bounces and then it goes. So after the first bounce, it goes 6 feet. This is one of the weird occasions where it has u sub 0. You can look backwards. It's before it was even dropped. What's 2/3 of 6? 4. U sub 3. After the third bounce, what is 2/3 of 4? What's 4 times 2/3? 4 times 2 is, so it's 8/3. Let's see, 8/3 means 2 and 2/3, and 2/3 means 0.7. So it's 2.7. Now I can keep going what u sub 4, u sub 5, u sub... We want to find out what u sub n is. Actually taking 2/3 times u sub n minus 1. The ones that we did over here in these problems, what happened here? We added 2. So those ones were u sub n minus 1 plus 2. It is always u sub n minus 1. And then I have the if part. And the if is always going to be if n is greater than or equal to 2. I am multiplying 2/3 every time. I have my 4 circles. In the first circle, I'm going to make 1 chord. 1 chord, doesn't matter where I put it. How many regions do I get? 1 chord gets me 2 regions. For my second one, if I draw 2 chords, how many regions will I get? Okay, 2. What's the most number of regions I can get? I get 1 here. There, it doesn't matter where it's at. What's the most, not the least? Because if I wanted the least, I could have done this. If you have things that don't intersect, you don't have enough. There are 4 regions. Figure out how many there are for 3 and for 4. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 in the middle. There are 7. 3 gets me 7. You want to try to get the most. If you got 6 and you want to try to see if you get any more. For number 4, or for the 4 chords. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put it right here so it hits the most. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 has 11. The most you can have is 11. A lot of you only have 10, probably. If I asked you to do 5, could you do it? How about 6? It's going to be harder to do, though, right? Right. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. I took out the circles. So the first one gave me 2. The second one gave me 4. Third one gave me 7. Fourth one gave me 11. I want to try to change this. I have u sub 1 means 2. U sub 2, 4. U sub 3 is 7. U sub 4 is 11. That is really what we just created. I want to try to create u sub n. How do I get a 4 compared to a 2? Okay, so I'm going to take u sub 1 plus 2. How can I get that 7 compared to the last one? U sub 3 plus 3. Or sorry, not u sub 3, u sub 2 plus 3. How do I get 11? U sub 3 plus 4. Do you see some sort of pattern? What do you think u sub n is going to be? Whatever is before it, so we call that u sub n minus 1, not plus 1. Plus 5, it's not always plus 5. It's changing. This one's a 2. This one's a 3. This one's a 4. The next one's going to be a... What's u sub 10 going to be? No. 10. U sub 4, I'm adding 4. U sub 3, I'm adding 3. U sub 10 is going to be adding 10. What is that? How can I put that in here? N. The equation is u sub n equals u sub n minus 1 plus n. Again, for n greater than or equal to 2. Here's your equation. It's the one we created. I'm going to show you how to put it in the calculator. We're going to turn it on, and we have to change something in here. We need to change it. If you borrow the calculator from the desk every single day, you're going to have to change this every single day. If you have your own, you can leave it alone. We need to change the calculator. What are we talking about in this section? I hit mode. Normally, your calculator is in function. This is highlighted. Change the function to sequence and hit enter. When I go out of here, second mode quits, I can still do 3 times 5 is 15. Does the math fine. But hit y equals. Y equals has now been changed. It now has a whole bunch of u's and v's and w's. This is in sequential mode. You've now changed the calculator. We're going to type in that equation into there. We're going to type it into u sub n. But the calculator does not have a sub. For the calculator to understand it's u sub n, you notice it says u in parentheses n. So to type it, I hit second 7. That is your u. Second 7 is the u. Now the parenthesis, hit your old X button where you hit X before. It's now an N. That is your variable button. It always was X. Whenever you needed X, you hit that button. But now when you hit it, it's an N. If you are in these modes, it changes the variable. So I'm going to do n minus 1. Put it in parentheses. Now I need to plus n. Press enter. Plus n. And the n is just your variable. That's the equation we just did. Notice up top I said n, the min is 1. You are telling the calculator the lowest term I have is u sub 1. See up here it says, right here. Now, you're going to notice there's 2 for each one. It says U sub n min. What is the lowest number I had in my... What's the lowest number I had? 2. I need to tell the calculator I'm starting at 2. I just need to tell the calculator my first number in my sequence was 2. If I didn't know 2, if I didn't know U sub 1, I knew U sub 3, and now it's the only thing I knew. I would change this right here to a 3, because that was U sub 3. And this number here, instead of a 2, would be a 7, because that's what it was. Do you understand how I typed this in there? It automatically puts it in there for you. When you hit 2 and hit enter, it puts the brackets around it. Hit second table, second graph. Second graph, it says error. Why? There's no U sub 0. The first one was 2. The second one is 4. Fourth one, 11. What's the 15th one? Now, I can either take and scroll down and keep going until I see the 15th one. Now, if I asked, what's the 100th one? I don't want to keep scrolling all the way down. How do I automatically jump to something?
I know it.
Can't just type 100.
You gotta go.
I need to go second, not zoom, second window. I'm not going to use 100 because that'll take forever. Let's change that to 50. Change the table start to 50. And then hit second graph. Now when the table I only had 5, sorry. Second 50. Now, second graph, it's probably going to sit there for a while. Because what the calculator is doing, it's figuring out what's 1, what's 2, what's 3, what's 4. And then eventually, it's going to get to 50. There. 50 is 1,276. That is, if I had 50 chords in a circle, there would be 1,276 different regions. You would never get this by hand.